Please either turn it off or put it on silence. And let me apologize to begin with. I do have a cold, so it's really hard for me to talk. First thing tonight, we're going to have Pastor Doug Mund of the Grace Fellowship Church will give us invocation. If you'll stay standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's bow our heads. Lord God Almighty, creator of heaven and earth, we come before you today as your humble servants, submitting that without you we can do nothing. We look to you alone for wisdom, strength, and comfort. Now, Lord, we implore you for your mercy on our city. Revive us, bring hope, and send your Holy Spirit with restoration and encouragement for all of us. We pray your blessing over Coffeyville. We pray for those in need and those with plenty. Lord, we pray your gracious touch upon all of us, and the wisdom to know what is right, and the courage and the ability to do that which is right in your eyes.
Yes.
We pray for all our city employees, this council, and all those who seek the betterment of this city that you have entrusted to us in our care. Lord, we look forward to your new heaven and earth, and until then we pray that your people will be bringing revival and a heart of repentance. Father God, in the name and character of your Son, Jesus Christ, empowered by your Holy Spirit, we truly make this prayer before you. Let it be. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor.
Amen.
All right, let's go on to consent agenda items. Regular City Commission meeting minutes from Tuesday, March the 12th, 2013, and the 2013 appropriation ordinance number AO-13-05 in the amount of $4,131,596.54. Do we have any questions, Commissioners?
I don't.
I have none.
None? Then I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve consent agenda items for the regular City Commission meeting minutes and appropriation ordinance AO-13-05.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Faulkner and seconded by Commissioner Jones to approve the consent agenda as presented. Commissioner Horn.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Mayor George.
Aye. All right, under regular agenda items, a proclamation declaring April 9th as Mayor's Day of recognition of national service. If Kathy Shepard would step up to the podium, please. I will try to get through this. Whereas service to others is a hallmark of American character and central to how we meet our challenges, and whereas the nation's mayors are increasingly turning to national service and volunteerism as a cost-effective strategy to meet city needs, and whereas AmeriCorps and Senior Corps addresses the most pressing challenges facing our cities and nation, from educating students for the jobs of the 21st century and supporting veterans and military families, to preserving the environment and helping communities recover from natural disasters, and whereas national service expands economic opportunity by creating more sustainable, resilient communities and providing education, career skills, and leadership abilities for those who serve, and whereas AmeriCorps members and Senior Corps volunteers demonstrate commitment, dedication, and patriotism by making an intense commitment to service and a commitment that remains with them for their future endeavors, and whereas the Corporation of the National and Community Service shares a priority with mayors nationwide to engage citizens, improve lives, and strengthen communities, and is joining with the mayors across the country to support Mayor's Day of recognition of national service. Now, therefore, I, David George, Mayor of the City of Coffeyville, Kansas, do hereby hereby proclaim April 9th, 2013 as National Service Recognition Day, and do hereby encourage residents to recognize the positive impact of national service in our city, to thank those who serve, and to find ways to give back to our communities. Thank you very much. All right, next item, report on the city's health insurance plan. Human Resource Director Marilyn Evenson will make the presentation.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You guys had a question on the definition of a Cadillac plan for our health insurance as part of the Healthcare Reform Act. So Gary has asked me to prepare a short summary of how the impact is on our plan. Effective January 1st of 2018, the Cadillac plan excise tax would be effective. The current definition of a high-cost health plan is costing more than $10,200 for an individual or $27,500 for a family. This amount includes worker and employer contributions to health plan. The excise tax is 40% on the amount over the established levels. These levels will increase based on medical price indexes annually. Currently, our plan does not, we're under these levels at this time, and it'll be something that we'll have to watch going forward.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions? Thank you, Marilyn.
Thank you.
Next, we have a presentation from Police Chief Tony Celeste.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. In law enforcement, it is our duty to respond to crisis and disorder, and I'm very proud with how all of our officers handle that responsibility every day. Occasionally, exemplary actions are performed by our officers that are worthy of recognition, and I would like to recognize one of those officers here tonight. Master Patrolman Steve Gilfillan, if you'd join me at the podium. Thank you. I'd like to report to the Commission that on December 18, 2012, police and fire units were dispatched to 1317 South Willow to investigate a report of a residential fire. Officer Gilfillan was the first emergency responder on the scene. Upon his arrival, heavy smoke was visible and coming from the second floor of the house. Officer Gilfillan immediately found and checked with the residents of the home who had self-evacuated from the structure. At that time, he was advised that one person was still unaccounted for inside the burning residence. Officer Gilfillan prevented a resident from going back inside the burning house, and to protect lives, disregarded his own safety and entered the house. Inside the home, he was able to locate the resident who was asleep in a bedroom and safely escorted him outside. The Medal of Valor Award is presented in recognition of acts by a member of this department who, in the protection of life or furtherance of justice, places his or her life in great peril and exhibits conduct which is exceptional. Sound judgment must also be displayed throughout the incident. Officer Gilfillan's judgment in this case was in accordance with the department's priority of life philosophy. The conduct he exhibited was exceptional and exemplifies the professional standards in law enforcement and of the Coffeyville Police Department. We commend Officer Gilfillan for his courage. His actions are worthy of the Medal of Valor, which I'm requesting that Mayor George present to Officer Gilfillan tonight.
And let me say, you make me very proud of you. Was it a surprise?
Thank you.
I declare.
Would any of the commissioners want to say something, anything? Like I said, it makes me very proud to be the mayor. When you show valor like that, it just shows the citizens of Coffeyville we do care.
Just 99.9% of the people, when they would see something like that, would run away from the situation, and you're the 0.1% that runs into it to save lives. Thank you.
I was going to say service beyond self. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that heroic act.
I think a lot of times we concentrate on the things that aren't right, and it's good for things like this to come to light because it shows what kind of men and women we have working, not just in our police department, but for the city in general.
Outstanding.
Outstanding. Item number 4, a presentation by the city manager, Gary Bradley, and the Coffeyville Area Chamber of Commerce Executive Director, Yvonne Hall. Already got him.
Thank you.
That one's kind of hard to follow
I
up.
was thinking, that's why I'm letting you speak.
I was going to let her
You're
speak.
welcome. Makes you proud to be part of Coffeyville.
Come in.
You have a map and a flyer. The Chamber of Commerce, I've spoken with them and we've talked about an idea that would help to draw people to the downtown area. If you're familiar with swaps and those kinds of sales, you know, we're not proposing that Coffeyville would turn into Canton, Texas, and have 100,000 people come through here on a weekend.
But wouldn't that be awesome?
That'd be great. But what we are proposing is that, unless there are objections, they've got a date planned for June 1st. They'd like to use the 10th Street parking lot, which has about 298 spaces. There are some adjacent parking lots that are also city-owned if we needed additional space. We'd like to get in as many vendors as possible. We'd like to get in as many shoppers as possible and bring people to our downtown area. And we think this is an idea that if it's successful in the summer, we would propose doing it again in the fall, and then next year try to make it an even more frequent and more regular thing.
And to add to that, the event will be in the downtown area, but the intent is to bring people to Coffeyville to shop all of Coffeyville. They can start there, but we're hoping to market and advertise all of our retailers and all of our attractions, so that maybe they can go to the museum, they can make an entire day. Hopefully they'd make it a couple of days. They could come in and spend the night before or after either one and drop some dollars here in Coffeyville and promote the community as an entire community, make it an event for everyone in the community. It will be located in downtown Coffeyville.
Great. Do we need any kind of a motion to?
I was just, a motion in support of it would be great. I was going to say if there were no objections, we would move forward.
I'll move to, for a motion to support this. I think it's a great idea.
Second.
Fantastic idea, really.
Concur.
Good job.
Amen.
The idea was the city managers were just pulling through the task. It's a partnership, but it was his idea.
Well, I'll say. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is public comments. If you would like to make a comment, please step to the podium. Please state your name and your address for us. Anybody like to talk to us?
I'm Mary Wilson. I live over on New Street. I just wanted to mention after that last commission meeting, when we had quite a discussion about a beer permit, I decided I'd look at and see if I could find any research that would tell me that people who drink a lot of alcohol spend more money. I didn't find it the way that I was hearing it. What I found was that their judgment decreases once they start drinking quite a bit of liquor. And so their judgment's not good, and so they spend more than they intend to. Okay? Second thing is I am hearing that since one has been approved, that we would be sued if more were approved. And I don't know what would be sued over. I'm confused about that. I know a citizen here in Coffeyville who had breast cancer years ago, and before she had this, she was advised very strongly, do not drink any alcoholic beverages of any kind and do the chemotherapy. She chose the chemotherapy. She is still cancer-free. But she was really amazed that they would tell her, don't drink any alcoholic beverages. I'm a little concerned about approving sales in competition with what I see merchants who sell it all the time. And I'm wondering if the commissioners shouldn't establish some guidelines of what groups will be approved and what groups will not. I don't know whether y'all ever disapprove, but I'd like to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to address the commission? We will move on to old business. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Hi, my name's Gay Cornell, and I live at 1503 Cortez. I'm here tonight based on the same issue. I do chair the Relay for Life here in Coffeyville and have for many years. I'm fortunate enough to surround myself with a lot of people from the Coffeyville area that do a tremendous amount of work, and am inspired and motivated by them all the time. The issue that's come before to allow or not allow the beer garden, this is something that a group of individuals who are giving all of their time, and it's a passionate cause of theirs. One of them spent months up at the Hope Lodge that is sponsored by or paid for by the American Cancer Society, battling cancer, and that's how he got involved with Relay, and that's how he's continuing to fight back since he is a survivor. He's one of the key people involved in this. For them to have an event that they're bringing to Coffeyville, and they're going to have, you're going to have experience a lot of people coming in and spending money in this town. I would have expected them to have been told thank you 1,000 times to be using that venue that sits empty way too much, and to also be bringing money in. I have friends coming in from Texas and Missouri that I know have bought tickets. I know they've got hotel rooms. They'll eat dinner, and they're going to be coming to the show. They know that they can raise more money by allowing a beer garden. They also know that it's legal. They're not asking to do something that's not legal. They're asking something that will raise more money. And that's what their passion is, that they're volunteering every single bit of their time, and they're asking to keep nothing in return, except for, as a volunteer, I know that the only thing you really do get is the thank yous and the feel good, and I would hope that they start getting that instead of having to spend so many hours dealing with this. To question them as being able to be responsible, and they've never, ever shown any reason to doubt that what they do isn't to better the community and to support cancer survivors in some instances, and in other instances, it's going to support our community, and then also the donations they can make to the American Cancer Society. I'm proud of them, and I'm very disheartened that they've had to go through what they've had to go through. And I hope that we can go ahead and get this resolved tonight. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't. And look forward to getting this done and everybody buying tickets and coming up to the concert and then coming to Relay later in June. So, thanks.
Thank you, Gary. Anybody else?
Damon Wilburn, 1507 West 4th, Coffeyville. Some of the people in the graveyard out there left me with this in mind. It takes two things to build a community: new people and new money. Now, we have two new people that came to this community, well represented, and that's the chief of police and the new city manager. They come highly recommended. In fact, your city manager was well representative and highly recommended by the League of Municipalities, which each and every one of you know about. We're very fortunate to have him. We're very fortunate to have the new chief of police. He comes highly recommended. But there are a couple of things we're going to have to do to this community, in my judgment. And that is, we're going to have to give people a reason to come to our community. That's exceedingly important. People come where they're invited. And we have to invite people to come to our community. But it takes a war chest. I'm sure each and every one of you know about war chests in the communities. Unfortunately, money talks, and you know what walks. Every one of you do. So we're going to have to give them a reason to come here. And we're going to have to build a war chest. Most communities, maybe not our size, have war chests to spend to clean up our community and to entice people to come with the advantages that we have by virtue of having a war chest. I think that we have a problem here in our community. I think part of it looks like a third world country. Now, you may or may not agree, but I've been here since 1933, and I've seen it go from bad to worse. It looks like a third part of the community, looks like a world third community. And that's a crying blankety-blank shame. You've got people bailing out of this community. I see it every day. You hear conversation about it. Now, why? There are numerous reasons, and each and every one of you know about them. Now, let's do something about it. We've got two new leaders in this community, very important leaders. They're paid well. You people are paid $100 a year. That man over there is paid a heck of a lot more, and the chief probably ought to be paid a little more, and he's getting paid. But by the same token, you have control of the budget, and you can hire and fire the city manager. You're paying him big bucks to lead the community and to bring it back to where it could be and should be. Let's all pull together and get it done. Give him some support. Don't argue with him. Hell, he knows more about it than you do. He knows a lot more about it than I do. But I know a lot more about being 52 or 41 than he does about 87. But you've got a good staff, work with them, pay attention to them, and thank you for your indulgence, Admiral. Take care of yourself.
Thank you, Damon.
Did you hear that?
Oh, yeah. We heard it loud and clear.
And for the short term at least, if our city manager and chief would disregard the comments about salary, we'll take that under advisement.
Would anybody else like to make a presentation? All right, moving on to old business, resolution number R-13-10. A resolution to approve a cereal malt beverage license and the sale of cereal malt beverages at Veterans Memorial Stadium for the Windsor Place Relay for Life team. At the March 12th meeting, Commissioner Edwards requested the action whereby the request of Windsor Place Relay for Life team to obtain a cereal malt beverage license and sell cereal malt beverage at a concert failed to receive enough votes to pass be rescinded and placed on the agenda. Since it is listed as an action item on the agenda, it requires a simple majority vote to pass it. Everybody understand? Okay.
Who is representing Windsor Place? Could you please come to the podium? I have a question for you.
Okay.
At previous meetings, the issue of an insurance policy covering liability and et cetera was discussed, and at that time you said you did not yet have a policy, but you were in the process of getting one and would provide that to the city. Has that been done?
It is in the works. Adam Gill with Coffeyville Insurance has decided that he's going to quote that and get that done. So instead of using the broker that we were going through, I handed it off to Coffeyville Insurance. So, and I guess over the weekend they had computers stolen, and so was supposed to get back to me today, but I'm assuming before the end of the week he's going to give me the details and the information so that we can get that taken care of. But he didn't see an issue with it at all.
But you don't have the policy yet?
We
As
don't
you're
have a
coming here.
policy in our hand yet.
I don't think you'd want a policy unless you have approval.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and, yeah, but it should, Adam said that there should be no issue with it, so he's been in insurance for a long time, so I'm assuming there's not going to be.
See, I still feel that since it's on city property and we okay it and someone gets hurt or whatever, that we're liable. We're liable to be,
Well, and, I think it had been brought up before, I'm perfectly fine with it being approved, under the.
Contingent upon you getting the
Correct,
insurance.
getting the insurance, because there's no way that we're going to have the event without insurance anyway, just because. I mean, it's a protection that we all need.
The college is requiring it also.
Correct.
And they have a contract with the college to hold the event.
Correct, and our owners are requiring it as well. So adding the city was not a huge deal. I mean, he's been made aware of everyone that needs to be listed on there.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Move to rescind the action taken at the February 26, 2013 meeting and approve resolution number R-13-10 for adoption.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Edwards and seconded by Commissioner Faulkner to rescind the action taken at the February 26, 2013 meeting and approve resolution number R-13-10 for adoption. Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Jones?
No.
Mayor George?
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner?
Aye.
Commissioner Horn?
No.
All right. And you will get the insurance for us, pretty please. Just put us on as a rider. Item number 2, ordinance number G-13-01, the second reading of an ordinance to amend Chapter 16, weed nuisances. No change from the first reading.
Any questions? Then I move to approve ordinance number G-13-01 for adoption.
I second it.
Motion was made by Commissioner Jones and seconded by Mayor George to approve ordinance number G-13-01 for adoption. Commissioner Faulkner?
Aye.
Mayor George?
Aye.
Commissioner Horn?
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Jones?
Aye.
Under new business, resolution number R-13-25, a resolution to execute a contract for the purchase of property located at 1006 West Fifth. Our illustrious city treasurer, Angie Naden, will make comments and address questions.
Mayor and Commissioners, good evening. For your consideration tonight is the acquisition of a lot at 1006 West Fifth using neighborhood stabilization grant funds. Upon purchase of the lot, it will be redeveloped with a single-family residence and sold to an eligible purchaser. The city was notified earlier this year of the grant award to construct 2 new single-family residences using the grant funds. The purchase of 1006 West Fifth will be our first lot acquisition associated with this program. After a third-party assessment was made to determine the market value of the property, an offer was made to purchase the lot, and it has been accepted by the owners, subject to commission approval this evening. And I would be happy to, staff recommends approving the purchase, and I would like to mention that this is a 100% grant-funded purchase. All of the expenses associated with this grant are 100% reimbursable to the city. Staff does recommend approving the purchase of 1006 West Fifth in the amount of $7,500 plus the necessary closing costs, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
No questions.
I have no questions.
I'll move to approve Resolution R-13-25 for adoption.
Second.
Motion was made by Mayor George and seconded by Commissioner Jones to approve resolution number R-13-25 for adoption. Commissioner Horn.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Mayor George.
Aye.
Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 2, Resolution R-13-26, a resolution to approve an amendment to the Deferred Compensation Plan. HR Director Marilyn Evenson will make comments and address questions.
Good evening again. The city has participated in a deferred compensation plan since 1982. We have approximately 40% of our employees that participate in this plan. The Federal Pension Protection Act of 2006 permits eligible retired public safety officers to exclude up to $3,000 of their qualified health insurance premiums from their gross taxable income each year, as long as these premiums are deducted from their retirement benefit and remitted directly to a health insurer. The CAPERS in September of 2012 was amended to allow local units of government to elect to offer this plan provision for their eligible public safety officers. Police officers and firefighters for our city are eligible. We do recommend this. It is an opportunity for the city to extend a benefit to retired or disabled public safety officers that was made available by federal law. It will require approval of commission to add to our plan.
I got a question, and I'll go along with this. The question that I have, Marilyn, is if we have a retired employee, can they still use our health benefits, and if they do, for how long?
They can currently stay on them up until age 65 when they're eligible for Medicare.
Okay, and then at that point, they have to go off or pay for them themselves?
Well, they pay for it themselves once they retire in that interim period between when they retire for the city and reaching age 65. Once they would reach age 65, then they would come off our plan and just go to Medicare.
Okay.
Is this like COBRA? Do they do COBRA?
They do the full cost. COBRA is the full cost plus 2%. They don't pay that additional 2%.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Anybody?
Thank you.
I'll move to approve Resolution R-13-26 for adoption.
So moved.
Who seconded?
Virgil did.
Motion was made by Mayor George and seconded by Commissioner Horn to approve resolution number R-13-26 for adoption. Mayor George.
Aye.
Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Commissioner Horn.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Next item, resolution number R-13-27, a resolution to purchase a truck for the electric utility. Electric Utility Director, Deputy Director Mike Shook will make comments and address questions.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Good evening. Electric Department Unit Number 924 is a 2001 Chevrolet Tahoe four-wheel drive with 110+ thousand miles on this unit. It is in daily use by the Electric Department Distribution Superintendent. This vehicle has begun to experience several mechanical issues resulting in extended downtime. Staff requested bids as per the City of Coffeyville procurement policy, receiving a total of 6 bids for a current model year 3/4 ton extended cab four-wheel drive truck. Staff has reviewed all bids based on warranty and price, and staff is recommending Quality Motors of Independence be considered a local vendor as per the City of Coffeyville procurement policy, thereby receiving the within 5% of low bid consideration. Quality Motors will exceed the 5%, however, but any warranty work would be provided by Quality Motors no matter who we bought the vehicle from. Staff is recommending authorization of a purchase order in the amount of $27,951.40 to Quality Motor Company for the purchase of a 2013 Ford F-250 extended cab four-wheel drive truck for the electric utility. I'd be happy to try to answer any questions you may have.
How many trucks, similar trucks, does the electric department have?
We have 2 2001 Tahoes.
How many trucks total?
I don't have that number with me. I'm going to say 15.
I won't hold you to it.
I'm going to say 15 to 20.
15 to 20?
Yes, sir.
I also see here on the background, it says vehicle has begun to experience several mechanical issues resulting in extended downtime. What kind of mechanical issues and how much downtime?
They vary. We've got a mechanic that works on a generation side that has mechanic skills. He's been able to perform most of the repairs, but they're becoming frequent because this vehicle is in use, like I say, by the distribution superintendent. It's on the road, I'm going to say 6 out of 8 hours a day.
Okay. Are there any other vehicles that could be used in lieu of this one?
I'm not sure I understand the question. In lieu of, we've got, when this vehicle's down, we've got, I believe it's a 90 model Jeep Cherokee wagon that he drives, takes out from the generation side while this one's being worked on.
Well, just my question is, I'm questioning the expense of replacing a vehicle when you already have this large number of vehicles available.
The vehicles we have are older than this one. We try to get every bit of use we can out of every vehicle. As I put in the staff report, we're going to offer this to other city departments. I believe there's been some interest from the IT department. They're in need of another vehicle. That's what the electric department, we've always rolled vehicles back if they're any good, if there's any use to be gained, because what we would get in a trade-in is
So
really nothing
from
more.
a city perspective, then, if I hear you correctly, you're just going to move the downtime and the expense from electric to another department?
I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying whereas another department may not drive this vehicle 6 hours a day, maybe twice a day from here to public service department or something, it may hold up under less use. It may perform for that, but it's not holding up for being on the road 6 hours a day.
What is the primary use of the vehicle?
This is the distribution superintendent's vehicle. He
This
goes from
Carlos
job to job.
Walker's.
Carlos Walker's vehicle.
Could you go another year without replacement of this vehicle?
This was actually scheduled for replacement, I believe, 2 years ago. We keep pushing it back. We've had it in the budget for at least 2 years.
So how many vehicles do we currently have in the internet utility? We have the van.
This would be for the internet side. We have a vehicle for the technician that he and I share.
Who would be driving this one?
I would.
You would.
And I would suspect if you had issues with the vehicle, we would probably at that point put it in the auction and get rid of it, as we do with the other vehicles.
What would be your use for the vehicle?
when Ray is out servicing things and I need to get out at the same time, instead of taking my own personal vehicle.
What's the newest vehicle you have?
In the electric department,
Uh-huh.
that's going to be the two Foreman trucks that were purchased 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
They replaced some mid-90 model one-ton trucks.
That's what I thought.
I think the oldest we have that's in, not daily use, but close to it, is a 86 Ford flatbed. We've got some older trucks older digger derrick trucks that we keep on hand. They're just not worth anything trade, but they do have a use for us. They're smaller, lighter, we can get on easements and such.
Is there a particular reason we need a full-size 4x4 truck if the main function of this vehicle is just to get from point A to point B?
He may pull a pole trailer at times, he may take gear out, often off-road.
Now, this is a four-wheel drive, correct?
Yes.
And it's extended cab?
Just extended cab, correct. They're gonna have he's gonna have cold weather gear, map books of our entire system, some tools.
When you all approved the budget this past summer for this year, you approved this?
We did.
Yeah,
We did.
And the other thing that I just want to share, I understand questions and answers. I really do. I think they're necessary for our making an informed decision. But I trust your judgment, Shook.
Thank you.
I'll move to approve Resolution R-13-27.
So moved.
Second.
Ladies.
Motion was made by Mayor George and seconded by Commissioner Jones to approve resolution number R-13-27 for adoption. Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Mayor George.
Aye.
Commissioner Horn.
Aye.
Item number 4, resolution number R-13-28, a resolution to purchase a bucket truck for the electric utility. Electric Utility Director Gene Ratzlaff will make comments and address questions. Hi, Gene.
Mayor, Commissioners. The City of Coffeyville Electric Distribution Department operates 2 distribution line crews. Each crew uses a minimum of 1 digger derrick truck and up to 2 aerial trucks per crew. Currently, the 2 oldest aerial bucket trucks are 1996 and 1998 models. Unit 863 was formerly in service as a trouble truck daily until replaced in 2009, at which time this truck was moved to a second-line crew truck. Unit 794 was previously in daily use as a tree crew aerial truck. This aerial truck, by design, is not as well suited for line work and serves as a backup aerial should any other aerial trucks be down for repairs. Staff requested sealed bids as per the City of Coffeyville procurement policy, receiving 4 sealed bids for a 56-foot aerial truck to replace these 2 aging aerial trucks. Staff intends to sell units 794 and 863. Staff has reviewed all bids received based upon warranty, price, service, and listed specs. Staff recommends an authorization of a purchase order in the amount of $188,368.71 to Altech Industries for the purchase of a 2013 56-foot aerial bucket truck for the electric utility. I'll answer any questions.
Altech makes a good product.
They do.
I know the family that makes these, and
Yeah, we have
they are
several
a good
others.
vehicle.
Question, since the two lowest bids were so close, what was the deciding factor?
We have a lot of history with Altech. They have a much more, a beefier unit than some of these other ones. VersaLift was very close. Their experience has been in the communications industry for years, and most recently have gotten into bigger buckets. And we have no history with them. We don't have a lot of knowledge about them. We get good response from Altech on repairs and warranty issues, and they'll be here within a day or so after we call them. So, you know, it's all about downtime, keeping units running.
I do have another It's not so much a question as it is more of an observation, and as probably is for downstream, as Commissioner Hornstead, we trust your judgment on these as far as the requirement goes. And we did, in fact, as Commissioner Edwards pointed out, budget for these in the for 2013. But to make a long story short, in a previous life as a Navy budget officer, I discovered that we could, in fact, get lower bids and get products on a more economical basis if we reduced and eliminated some of the specifications that required. That it was referred to as mil-spec. And there were many times, I mean, you've all heard the stories about the $400 toilet seat and the $200 hammer. Well, what I discovered during those investigations was that was a good price. That was a good price for, $400 for a toilet seat and $200 for a hammer. The problem was it was stupid to pay that much for it because we had built in so many incredible requirements for the product that when the manufacturer, in order to comply with all of those requirements they had to give us, they had to build in a higher price. The specifications are quite detailed that you provided us in the information here on the truck. But some of those go on and on and on, and some of the specifications, it must be white. It must have a handhold of a specific type located here or there. If we reduced some of those requirements or eliminated them in the future, I think you might be able to get a more economical product just by virtue of eliminating some of those specifications that don't necessarily have anything to do with equipment operation or safety.
Actually, each one of those were reviewed in detail based on other trucks that we've owned, and went over with one of the manufacturers as to what these items were, spent a lot of time. The people that use the truck spent a lot of time looking at these specs and eliminating things we don't need and only looking at the things we're going to need. So, and storage is a big problem. That was one of the issues. You need to have a place to put all the products that you need for outages and so forth. We've pretty much done that. And basically, this spec was pretty much similar to all the trucks. We had all the other bidders had a choice to say they couldn't meet this and what they would do in place of it, and pretty much everybody could meet it.
I noticed that on the stuff you gave us.
Director Jean, what do you think that you'll get in selling Unit 794 and 863? I know, do you think,
probably,
what are you asking for?
Well, we've talked to some people last week, and we're looking at maybe putting them in an auction. Typically, these would probably go for, that age truck would probably go for probably under $10,000.
There's absolutely no trade-in value on
Very
these at
low
all.
trade-in value. We got rid of 2 of them in an auction earlier this year, and we got just $2,000-3,000 for them.
Just curious.
Where would the proceeds for that money go? What account would that go back? Would they go back into a specific account? I'm sorry?
Yeah, it would go back into the electric department.
And this is from St. Joe.
There's no other questions. I move to approve resolution number R-13-28 for adoption.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Horn and seconded by Commissioner Jones to approve resolution number R-13-28 for adoption. Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Mayor George.
Aye.
Commissioner Horn.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Item number 5, resolution R-13-29, a resolution to execute an engineering services agreement with Schreiner something, Valuation Resources for an electric system appraisal and valuation.
The electric utility was notified in January by Coffeyville Insurance Associates that an appraisal of all property, structures, and equipment is being required by the insured, Chubb Group of Insurance Companies. Staff has obtained quotes for this service as recommended by Coffeyville Insurance Associates and Chubb Group of Insurance from 2 vendors, of which only Shriner Valuation Resources, LLC, is licensed to perform both equipment and property appraisals. A 3rd vendor failed to provide a quote as requested. Staff recommends the Mayor and Board of Commissioners execute an engineering service agreement with Shriner Valuation Resources, LLC, to perform an appraisal and valuation of the electric utility for the not-to-exceed amount of $21,750. Any questions?
I will say, Commissioners, I talked to Deputy Director Mike Shook about the appraisal because there was a question about whether or not you could use somebody local. And talking to Mike, my suggestion was they go with this type of a company because these people are specialists in this type of a building. And somebody else who is from Topeka or someplace else is not going to be a specialist because these buildings are so specialized, you just can't place a value on it based on what you think something else is selling for in the state of Kansas. It's too specialized of a building.
Have we dealt with these individuals before?
No. Matter of fact, as far as we don't know when the last time there was an appraisal done.
And it really behooves us to have this done because if the value of these assets are more than what we've been insuring them for in the past, we need to make sure we got them covered in case something happens. We don't want to lose any money.
Are there any other questions? Then I move to approve resolution number R-13-29 for adoption.
Thank you, Gene.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Jones and seconded by Commissioner Edwards to approve resolution number R-13-29 for adoption. Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Commissioner Horn.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Mayor George.
Aye.
Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Item number 6, a resolution R-13-30, a resolution to allocate the fiscal year 2013 local alcohol liquor funds.
Mayor and Commissioners, the state of Kansas imposes a tax at the rate of 10% upon the gross receipts derived from the sale of alcoholic liquor at any club, caterer, drinking establishment, or temporary permit holder. Those funds are remitted to the state of Kansas, and any community with a population over 6,000 receives 70% of that amount back as local alcoholic liquor funds. Per statute, the city shall deposit the amount, the full amount in the city treasury, and then they divide it. A third of it goes to the general fund for the city, a third to the Special Parks and Recreation Fund, and a third to the Special Alcohol and Drug Programs Fund. We annually receive requests for this funding. This year, we've received requests from 4 County Mental Health, the Big Brother, Big Sister program, and the DARE program. In the past, we've also divided this with the ADSAP program, but that is no longer in business, so we've got representatives from each one of those organizations here to answer any questions that you might have. Staff was recommending a proposal to divide the allocation of that final third for the special alcohol and drug programs between the 3 organizations as 4 County Mental Health 30%, Montgomery County Big Brother Big Sisters 30%, and the DARE program 40%. Like I said, the organizations are here to make comments if they'd like to get up and answer any questions that you might have.
Just for starters, I have a very basic question. Everything I read and you said at the top, it talks about 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, yet down below we've got 40% going to the Coffeyville Police Department.
This is the allocation of one of those thirds. The 1/3 stays in the general fund, 1/3 goes to Special Parks Fund, and then the last third is the part that we're doing the allocation for this evening.
All right, thank you.
Tony, could you explain the DARE program for those that are listening?
Sure.
The DARE program is a program, of course, that's been around for a long time. It's the Drug and Alcohol Resistance Education program that we've done it here in Coffeyville for quite a number of years. It's a very popular and very proactive alcohol and drug resistance program that we enjoy putting on to the schools. This funding does allow us to provide for those educational materials and awards and things like that we put out in the DARE program. And it's really evolved even beyond the drug and alcohol and goes into a lot with building good self-esteem and bullying and those kinds of issues that our kids deal with. And
That's a really good program.
absolutely.
I'm glad we have that program.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Is there anybody from the other groups here that would like to talk? Okay. Name and address, please.
Name and address. I'm Steve Denny with Fort County Mental Health Center. We have an office located at 1601 West 4th here in town.
Okay.
I'm here just to describe a little bit about what we do with this money and the types of services we provide using the liquor tax funds. We provide an array of services, mental health, crisis services, but this is specific to our alcohol and drug counseling and treatment program. We do assessments for DUI evaluations. We do assessments for other offenses related to alcohol and drugs, both at the city and county level. Since January of this year, the ADSEP program closed. We have seen a significant increase in the amount of referrals to provide care for the folks that his business would have served. Just fiscal year, or calendar year, January of 2012 through the middle of March, our referrals have more than doubled, which is creating an additional strain on the amount of care we're having to provide. At the state level, there's been a reduction in our block grant funding. We are seeing major changes in our behavioral health system that's going to change our ability to do business and serve people in the way we normally have. The proportion that Mr. Gallagher and the ADSEP program was serving, the majority of those clients will walk through our doors and will be required will be asked to serve them and provide the evaluations and any follow-up treatment. Most of our alcohol and drug services are currently funded through a block grant, which basically means you get this pot of money, you spend it however you want, but if you use it, you're out of it. And we've seen a reduction just in this year in that funding. So I'd just like to request and strongly consider that proportion of that money that the ADSEP was receiving, that we would receive the majority of those funds, because we will be taking over the care of those individuals. And it's very important we have the capacity to serve them. And we do use, I would also add, we do use the Kansas Placement Inventory, which is the state recommended instrument. We also do 3 other instruments and make recommendations based on empirically based treatment methods. And we are constantly seeking to improve the care we provide. Questions?
Yeah. The ASBAT program, is that what it was that Mr. Gallagher did?
ADS, Alcohol, Drug, Safety, and Action Program.
Okay. When those people refer to you, though, don't you receive a fee off of them? Don't they pay a fee?
They do pay a fee. They pay a fee to come in for services. The impact, a couple levels. We have the counselor fees, and the fee that we receive covers about an hour of services. It takes much longer than that to do the paperwork. We have administrative fees to process the diversion documents for the courts. And once again, if we recommend a higher level of treatment, they're going to be receiving treatment, and that money would come out of our block grant money that would have gone for other clients. So we're going to see a stretching of those funds.
Okay.
Well, I'm absolutely in favor of educating people on alcohol and drug use. I think it's important, especially young people.
I agree. I would just a question for staff. What was the methodology that was used to determine the distribution? I mean, in the case of Fort County, it's 5,352. Big brothers and sisters, 5,352, same amount. and it sort of looks like it was just an arbitrary percentage rather than any kind of a thoughtful methodology.
That was the percentage that had always been used before the Big Brother, Big Sister program came in. DARE had always received the 40%, and the other remaining 60% had been divided equally between the organizations. So that's what we went back to. But the allocation is purely up to the commission, and that's what we're here to try to decide this evening.
I guess the question is that sufficient as far as distribution goes? I have no expertise in this area, so I'm just asking, you know, as far as the city's contribution to that program, $5,352, is that sufficient for the needs as you see them?
That's what we budgeted.
Yeah. Well, it was the total amount.
Right, right.
But this is the distribution that's being recommended. I'm just saying, is it enough in terms of available between the three areas?
I think it's fair, seeing that all of the service groups are important. They're important. And the fact of the matter that ADSAP is no longer in the picture, then the groups are getting more than what they would have originally got. And I salute Fort County. They do a tremendous job. They do have a workload, but all are, to me, are important.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not in question.
There is no right answer on this. Staff simply reverted back to the distribution that the commission had decided on previously and that the commission continued to approve. If the commission wanted to come up with a different formula for distribution, staff would implement it. It's kind of three great programs that all have needs that exceed what we have to provide them.
Okay, all right.
Well said, sir.
Sarah Bromley?
I'm here with Big Brothers and Big Sisters, 607 West 11th Street. We're a mentoring program, nonprofit. It helps. We have a high school program and a community-based programs. The money helps with background checks for the volunteers and to make and continue matches throughout the year. Any questions for me?
How many volunteers do you have?
How many volunteers do I have? I have 19 in the school system, and I have, in Coffeyville, I have 1 community-based.
And how many individuals are you serving?
Individuals, we have 54 altogether for Montgomery County. And I have 22 kids on the waiting list at this current time for Montgomery County.
What are the ages of the kids?
5 to 18.
5 to 18.
What other, do you receive funding from the other city governments in Montgomery County, Caney, Cherryville, and Independence?
No.
They don't contribute?
No.
We have our Bowl for Kids' Sake, which, like a big corporation out of Neodesha, the MEC program, they will donate towards that. We have Cox Communication as a sponsor towards that, but as far as like the government or the city councils and stuff, no.
As I take a half a step back, and this has nothing to do with you, I just want to point out that, again, we find ourselves in a position, the city of Coffeyville does, where we're stepping up to the plate and we're doing the right thing, and our neighboring communities are, they're kind of stepping back and watching us do the right thing. And the Independence Reporter guy's already left, hasn't he? Somebody call him after the meeting and tell him that I said, shame on the city of Independence and these other cities. They need to get with the program and help support these programs. It shouldn't all fall on the shoulders of our city government. They need to be pitching in and helping. Nothing against you. What you guys are doing is wonderful. It's just too bad that, I mean, I would observe that if people bought more alcohol, we'd have more money to spend, but I think that I'd probably get in trouble down there for saying that.
Oh, yeah.
She'd probably say if people bought less alcohol, we'd have less problems. I think you could argue that. I think you could argue that point, but I feel I feel good that we're able to help, and at the same time, it hurts me that we're not able to help more.
See, I'm drawn tonight, allowing one to have alcohol, and here we're fighting it on the other hand. You know, it's,
You're spending alcohol money here.
I know.
Maybe you should vote no again.
And where do you live? This is a really good program.
Yes,
Big
it
Brothers
is.
and Big Sisters is an excellent program, too.
Commend your efforts.
I heard
Thank
that.
you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
I move to approve resolution number R-13-30, resolution to allocate the FY 2013 local alcohol liquor funds.
Second.
And that is as presented in this resolution.
As
Correct.
presented.
As presented. Motion was made by Commissioner Faulkner and seconded by Commissioner Jones to approve resolution number R-13-30 for adoption. Mayor George.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Commissioner Horn.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye. Thank you, folks, for what you do for those people that you're serving. Maybe starting next year, we need to stipulate that the money we allot goes to people in Coffeyville.
Bingo.
It's something to think about starting next year.
budget.
These other cities aren't pitching in, and we're not doing anything for our own kids. I mean, you know.
Are some of those kids on your waiting list for Big Brothers and Sisters, are they Coffeyville kids?
Yes, my actually latest one is a Coffeyville child.
Wow.
Resolution number R-13-31, a resolution to purchase network storage. Chris Phoebe. Hang on a minute, Chris. You can go ahead and stand there. I got a question for Ford County Mental Health. Same question Sarah was given.
Yes.
Are the other cities supporting you with their liquor tax?
Some of the other cities.
Some of them or all of them?
Well, it depends on which, we serve 4 counties.
I'm talking Montgomery County.
Montgomery County, yes, Independence does. I don't believe we receive anything from Cherryville. I'd have to double check, Candy, but I know we do from,
Okay.
we did a little bit of county.
All right, thank you.
Good question.
Mayor, Commissioners, good evening.
Good evening.
The city's current network storage array is near capacity. We currently have around 2 terabytes of usable storage. Of that 2 terabytes of usable storage, only about 15% remain. As we're moving more and more towards digitizing our records, moving into a paperless entity, that 15% probably will not last as long as we'd hope. In addition to the usable space that we have, we've also had some requests for some additional space for other departments. Engineering has some pictometry, some aerials from the county that they would like to store. It's in the neighborhood of a terabyte just by itself. So also PD has some interest in some additional storage. Their WatchGuard video server is its own entity, not backed up. I mean, it's going on to a network storage device, but that network storage device is not backed up. So, the attached quote, the price that is there includes space for both our main site and our disaster recovery site. Staff looked at other brands. Drobo, which is an enterprise class storage manufacturer, for $18,000 as a base price, which included a piece of hardware here, a piece of hardware at our disaster recovery site, but it did not replicate data inherently. We would have to buy an additional software package for our virtual machine infrastructure. It costs roughly about $6,500 per 25 virtual machines. The city roughly has about a little under 60, and then we have to buy them in 25 packs, so we need to purchase 3 of them. So we looked at that in relation to, this quote from NetApp. We also looked at HP. Their base system, which did not include a disaster recovery option, was $22,000. The additional disaster recovery option would be roughly $15,000, and then we would also need to purchase replication software for $2,900. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
So we currently have 2 terabytes worth of storage,
Of usable storage.
usable storage.
Yes.
And you're wanting to buy how much?
Not left. That's 2 terabytes total. We have 15% of that left.
Right. So, and we're wanting to add how many terabytes?
With this additional storage, we'll end up being in the neighborhood of 8 to 9 terabytes.
So it's a significant increase.
It's a 6 terabyte increase.
It's enough that we won't grow into it right away.
Right. And with this purchase, we would also be purchasing a drive cage, and we're only going to fill this thing up halfway. So in the future, if we need to add drives, we'll not have to go through this big purchase again. We can just buy drives as needed.
Okay, Chris, on the actual, on the page 1 of the proposal that you provided us with, line item number 1 there, it looks to me like it's a 12 terabyte system, 12 times 1.0 TB. It's 12 terabytes, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and for 12 terabytes, you're asking for $28,362.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I took a quick look around at some of these comparable systems, and just a very cursory sort of look at Newegg. You mentioned Hewlett-Packard. I found a Hewlett-Packard system at Newegg that was a 36 terabyte system with a base price of $12,000. That's 3 times the storage for 1/2 the price.
Yes, sir.
There was also a Buffalo system listed. I've got all the model numbers and everything, and that's an 8 terabyte system. Admittedly, it's 2/3 of the storage that you're requesting, but the price for this was less than 10% of the comparable terabyte cost. And then over on the CDW website, they had a 12 terabyte system that was comparable to what you're looking at here for 1/2 the cost. So with all of this price discrepancy, I'm seeing, 1/2, the significantly below what you're asking for. How do you justify that much of a price differential?
A couple reasons. On your first one, you were talking about a 36 terabyte HP. My guess is it's just a shelf. It does not include the controllers, the dual controllers that we would require, and an additional storage for our disaster recovery site.
Okay, since you mentioned disaster recovery, what about the cloud?
We've looked into that. With the amount of data we transfer, back and forth daily, we'd be looking at anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 per month.
In addition, oh my.
So over our current storage. So, we have looked at that option.
That was one of my questions to him, too.
Okay.
Because
So I guess a very basic sort of question. Given the history of technology, the way it progresses, with the half-life of technology running about every 18 months or so, do we need to purchase this much capacity for this much money now? Or could we wait and as the technology, we see as technology improves, capacity goes up and the price goes down. We see that now. I've got a storage device this big that's 500 gigs myself. I plug into my own computer. And the prices keep dropping on those. About every 6 months, the price keeps ratcheting down.
Sure.
So would we be ahead by not buying this much capacity and waiting?
On the enterprise side, it makes no difference. Storage that is built for enterprise class has a higher mean time between failure. When you're looking at cheap storage, you have a very lower mean time between failure. So we, in the enterprise side, we look at, 50,000 hours, 100,000 hours before a drive will fail. In the personal storage, you're looking at 5,000 hours, 30,000 hours. It's less than that. So in the enterprise world, in enterprise storage, price really doesn't drop that much. And in the way that storage is going in the enterprise with the solid state drives, we're actually going to see a price increase right off, in the next 18 months because we pay more per megabyte on a solid state drive.
So this is just solid 28,362, no monthly, just
This is a straight-out purchase, yep.
Okay, so this is not solid state?
No.
This is a spinning disc?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we budgeted this, right?
No.
This item,
Not budgeted.
this was not budgeted this year. We budgeted 40,000 last year. We used half of it.
Right, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So then we had 20,000 left over, so in reality, we're only exceeding spending authority by about $8,300.
Well, sort of, kind of. That's money, that's
Exceeding what you had previously allocated.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily carry over.
Right.
It is
it's
a new appropriation
Yes.
entirely.
It's the old, what's it, authorization versus appropriation issue.
And you did look at Newegg.
Okay,
I-
so
I have
then,
done my homework, yes.
okay, so then for staff, where does the money come from?
All because of Don.
Since it is a new appropriation, where would the money come from?
This comes from capital equipment fund.
So that would transfer from one account to another?
That's the fund that's funded by 20% of one of the sales tax. And it's the competing part for police, fire, public service, administration. It's,
Okay,
would be
all
one
right.
of those funds.
Thank you.
Move to approve resolution number R-13-31 for adoption.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Edwards and seconded by Commissioner Jones to approve resolution number R-13-31 for adoption. Commissioner Horn,
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner,
Aye?
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Mayor George.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
I
Thanks,
noticed the
Chris.
staff is staying at the podium until we're done voting. Is that a directive, or?
No, they're waiting for you to ask him another question.
He's asking most of the questions tonight.
Some votes take weeks.
Yeah, really.
Isn't that the truth?
Noticed.
That
All
is
right.
the truth.
I just want to know when that tower is going to start transmitting.
We have brought on 15 more sites. We're doing the areas closest to the grain elevator right now, and then we're expanding out.
Okay?
Thank you for coming tonight.
A resolution to amend the City of Coffeyville's meal reimbursement policy.
Better get comfortable.
The city's current meal reimbursement policy provides for employees who are out of town on training or official city business breakfast of $7 per breakfast, $10 per lunch, $15 for dinner. They can combine those amounts for a total of up to $32, and then they have to bring in receipts for reimbursement. Under the IRS guidelines, we can do it on a per diem basis and allow the employees $7 for breakfast, $10 for lunch, $15 for dinner. They can combine it for a total of up to $32 per day, and it saves the staff time of having to go back and reconcile and the hassles that deal with that. So a lot of times we spend more hassle than it's really worth over $1 or $2. The current plan, the way that it allows people to combine things, it is literally in the best interest of employees who want to skip breakfast to buy something off the dollar menu, throw it away, and then apply that $6 towards dinner. That doesn't make any sense.
Move to approve resolution number R-13-32 for adoption.
Move. So move.
Motion was made by Commissioner Edwards and seconded by Commissioner Horn to approve resolution number R-13-32 for adoption. Mayor George.
Aye.
Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Horn.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Resolution number R-13-33, a resolution to adopt Robert's Rules of Order. City Manager.
This was something that staff was asked to put together by the commission to establish some rules that govern the conduct of your meetings. Right now, the city doesn't have anything formally adopted. You can pick this version if you want, or you can develop your own rules of conduct. The advantage of Robert's Rules of Order are that they're fairly universal. Most people know what they entail, and we can easily buy some books, and if anyone has questions, they can go to websites and things like that to provide you with the information if you have questions regarding a particular motion.
But we've got a city attorney who's got a mind like a trap. He remembers all this stuff.
Move to approve resolution number R-13-33 for adoption.
So move. Discussion? Discussion.
I'm sorry.
I think I may have been the person who suggested this as far as a request for a look into this. In retrospect, over the previous 2 weeks, I've had time to reflect on that, and I believe that the commissioners that are here, and along with the, if I could paraphrase the steel trap mind of our city attorney, I think we do a pretty good job of conducting business without, I'll use the expression, tying our hands under a very rigid and strict governing set of rules. I think we're adult enough to be able to work together, and we have a reasonable enough understanding of the basics of Robert's Rules of Order in terms of conducting a meeting in a civil manner, that I would, if I had it to do over, I would probably have kept my mouth shut at the last meeting about requesting that you look into this for us. And that's my comment. I personally, at this point, don't think we really do need to have Robert's Rules of Order. I think we're
I agree.
able to conduct meetings in a civil manner without tying our hands, and then having to flip through books.
What if you have some individuals who aren't civil?
Well, that's why we have a mayor and a chief of police at present.
I mean, Robert rules are cool, they're good, and maintains order, but I understand what you're saying. I do.
There was about a 4 or 5 year period of time here, not that long ago.
That the rules would have came into play right nicely. And nobody got hauled out by the chief.
We had a different chief back then, though.
Mm-hmm.
So I think protocol, when, in this new millennium, when nothing's easy anymore, everything's difficult. I think Robert Rules would be in order to maintain balance. But I do understand what you said.
I think I would like to see him and be able to review them before I vote on it.
I don't know what I'm voting on.
I would also point out that you can adopt them and make a motion to suspend the rules. And then, having read the rules, if you didn't want them, someone could make a motion to rescind.
Oh, my gosh, not again.
Oh, no.
You could follow.
Tell you what, you do this, I'll do this.
You do this.
I told you nothing was simple anymore.
If you don't want to approve it, you should probably make a motion to table.
Or withdraw the motion.
Or withdraw.
I withdraw my motion. I don't see that we have enough votes for it to pass, so.
I would like to see a copy or something, if we can get one without a lot of expense. to
They're
go.
online.
I have,
Send me a link. I would like to go through them.
I'll send it to you right now.
Okay, go right ahead.
All right.
Me too.
RobertsRulesOfOrder.com.
Oh,
Just that simple.
okay.
Commissioner Edwards, are you withdrawing your motion?
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Consideration of payment to retail attractions.
This is the, probably the most fun thing. The city entered into an agreement with retail attractions for a certain scope of services. That information was included in your packet for your review. There's a $3,000 a month payment that's associated with that. And the scope of work that they have to do over those 12 months is to continue their scope of work from the previous agreement, provide bound market and trade information and opportunity gap report, which prepare updated one-page marketing piece for the city of Coffeyville to give to developers and retailers, which they did. Represent Coffeyville at the May 2012 ICSC in Las Vegas, and also the conference in Dallas, which my understanding is they attended those. Consult with the Economic Development, EDC, which we don't have an EDC, and city staff to identify target retail businesses that meet the needs of the city. They did not do that during my tenure, but I presume that happened at some point in the contract, or they would not have been able to go out and market effectively to people. Actively recruit targets identified and approved by the city. Contact an extensive network of developers to gauge their interest. Provide monthly updates to the city manager and or designated contacts, and that they would bid any specialized marketing materials. The problem with the contract, I've spoken with our attorney, and he concurs, is that there's not a lot to it. It's not a high threshold for them to meet in order to be in compliance with the contract. There is a big difference between the question of, do you feel you are getting any return on your investment and any bang for your buck, versus the question of, did they meet the minimal standards that are in this proposal that turned into a contract by having a signature line on it. It could easily be argued that they have upheld their portion of the contract, and that we have not upheld ours by making payment. So it could be justified that we just made a bad decision a couple of years ago when we decided to get into this, and we made a bad decision when we decided to continue it. I know that when I first came here, there was a motion made to end the contract with them, and it was determined that, well, maybe we should wait until they have a chance to meet with the new city manager. For a variety of reasons, they were able to stretch that meeting out until such time as our 60-day notice was kind of worthless. I've spoken with Mr. Kreitz, and we can support either decision. If you would like to send them the payment and just say, you know what, it was a bad mistake, let's learn from that and never make that mistake again, that's fine. If you decide to withhold the payment, we may end up spending more fighting it than it's worth and still end up having a payment. But if we're directed not to send the checks, we won't, and we'll fight for the city.
Well, and this company, the Retail Attractions, they do have a lot of connections with a lot of companies, restaurant businesses that we'd like to eventually have come here, and
that's true. And
the risk we run by it.
The city and saying that we don't uphold our end of the bargain, and you know, that's an important consideration.
Yeah, very important.
And
Go ahead,
as far as
Kevin.
those other restaurants, companies, organizations, they have their own marketing and business development staffs as well at the national and regional level, and they're looking for communities to expand into. And I see no reason why we don't have the the capability to manage that on our own. My position would be to pay them what is required under the contract and say goodbye.
Adios.
I'm in agreement.
Yep.
Is that a motion?
That is a
Yes.
motion.
I'll second.
We'll all second that one.
Motion was made by Commissioner Faulkner and seconded by Commissioner Edwards to submit payment to Retail Attractions, and then that will, throughout the contract, and then the contract will cease.
Yeah, terminate it.
And allow the contract to terminate. Mayor George.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Horn.
Aye.
Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Question. Did we ever share with Retail Attraction that we were not pleased with their services and explain to them in detail what we were not pleased with?
Yes, we did, and they offered to then enter into a contract with the city at a reduced rate and tie the rest of their compensation to when they actually land something.
Thank you.
Fool me once.
Not again. Resolution number R-13-34, a resolution to implement a personnel manual, memorandum of agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police, International Association of Firefighters, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, and the International Union of Operating Engineers, and wage increases effective May 1st, 2013 through December 31st, 2015. City Manager.
Mayor and Commissioners, you have some information regarding proposed wage increases. Those wage increases are based on a compensation study that the city conducted where we compared ourselves to a host of other cities in the region. In the cases of electric, where many of the comparison cities did not have the same types of jobs, we compared ourselves to other cities, Garden City, Iola, Pratt, other cities that were also small, not necessarily in the southeast part of Kansas, but had their own municipal electricity. In the case of fire, we compared ourselves also to some communities that provide the ASMAC regional response teams, and put together something that I think the bargaining units are comfortable with, that proposes bringing up anyone who is not compensated at or above their range, bringing them up to within 95% of the market average. In some of the cases where the difference between what they make and what the study showed they should be, we spread that out by up to 3 years of getting them up to 95% of the market average. And they were okay with that because getting those raises even spread over 3 years is better than not getting them. We did not propose any pay cuts for any positions that the study did show were above the market average. We didn't feel like that would be very well-received gesture. And we proposed a 2% cost of living increase. We didn't propose a 2% cost of living increase, just arbitrarily picked that we should look at April's consumer price index, which happened to be 2%.
Would these raises be retroactive back to the 1st of February?
No, they would not.
Why?
We've already compensated people for the work that they've done. You cannot then go back in and compensate them more. They are kind of working for what they're working for now.
But this is a lot of information, a lot of numbers to absorb, but anybody I'd like to table it so I can wade through all of this.
And that was my intent too, to provide you with just a brief summary of where we're at. Some of those numbers we do need to take another look at, but I wanted to get you the information for your consideration.
And
I'll also get it to you electronically.
I would also, I think we have made a request too of funds, where the funding would come from.
Yes.
If we could have that. And if, I'd really prefer mine electronically, my eyes, sometimes I can raise it, you know, when I've got to. Thank you.
Well, we didn't want to use too much of our storage space this week.
I really feel like whatever we do should be retroactive to the first. Are you telling me it's a legal issue that we can't do that?
No, it's not.
Or is it a bookkeeping nightmare that we want to avert?
Well, it is a bookkeeping nightmare, and we have had employees that have left since then and issues like that. I think it's easier and cleaner to just start from here going forward.
Bargaining units